The 1941 Escalante is a fascinating boat. A kayak with an external skin and an internal frame was first constructed by the First Nations peoples in the Arctic Circle, where an internal frame made of bone and driftwood was covered with animal skins. That concept of a kayak exploded in popularity in the 1920s and 1930s in Europe. It took a little while for that popularity to get to the United States, but it did. Foldboats, like the Escalante, were used competitively in 1940 at America's first National Whitewater Championship held in Middleton, Maine on the Rapid River. Two women were in the double canoe race competition, Amy Lang and Marjorie Hurd. Lang won the doubles foldboat event with her partner, Alexander Z. Grant. In the late 1930s and 40s, Alexander Grant was most likely America's best foldboat pilot. Grant kayaked the Gates of Lodore on the Green River in Dinosaur National Monument in 1939 and the Middle Fork of the Salmon River up in Idaho in 1940. As with nearly all American foldboat enthusiasts of the day, Grant did not know how to roll his boat, a technique allowing the boat to actually roll upside down, and then the pilot, working the little paddle, would roll the boat right side up. That technique was something that the First Nations peoples learned how to do in the Arctic Circle. On Grant's 1941 run through the Grand Canyon, he teamed up with Norm Nevels. At Badger Rapid, Grant relied on signals from Nevels to make the run, only Nevels signaled Grant right into a hole at the top of the rapid. The foldboat flipped, tossing Grant into the river. Unperturbed, Grant stayed with the boat, got back in it, bailed it out, and kept paddling. The specially built Escalante was filled with beach balls with two inner tube sponsons attached to the sides. Z's boat was owned by the Utah Parks Company, who ran the North Rim Lodge at the time. They had the boat on display at the lodge after the river trip, but eventually they threw it out. A quick-thinking National Park Service employee rescued this boat from the North Rim dump. One of the fascinating things about this boat is how narrow it is. This is a tippy boat, just like the Powell boat from 1869. And to think it was the first kayak to be paddled through the Grand Canyon. There's something really neat in this boat, which is Grant's spare paddle. It's just a simple canoe paddle, and the fact that it was able to survive with the boat all these years is just wonderful. This is the cockpit. It's really fascinating because there's no seat and there's no bracing for Grant's body. Today, kayaks of today have all this bracing so that you can use your trunk to flip the boat right side up. That's not an option here. You're sitting in here, your feet are there, there's nothing to brace against. And that's all you got. So again, the intention of these boats was not to roll them over. And if they did, you'd have to swim. And swim, you could get back in the boat. If you turn it right side up, get back in here, it'd be full of water. You have to start bailing it out and then paddle it as well. So again, there's nothing here. What is in here, which is really neat, are all these little bits of little threaded wing nuts. There's one there, there's one there, there's one over here, there's another one over there, and all these little parts to hold this boat together. So what defines a folding boat or a fold boat? Are all these internal parts and an external skin. These internal parts, these round struts, are held together with brass sleeves. So you can understand, you can take this boat all apart and you'll end up with 2 backpacks full of stuff. You'll have the outer fabric skin and then all of these cross braces. See, this one has a little 5 on it. It's got a little number on it. This one's number 4. That one's number 3. So it gives you instructions on how to put it together. And in the end, it looks like a boat like this, coming out of a couple backpacks. And the other thing about this is the canvas has a tendency to pull, and the wood has a tendency to not go anywhere. So some of this, what you're seeing here, is where the canvas has just pulled away. I'm not sure how much he was running into things on the river with that, but I just think over time, that may be an over the time artifact. What's really interesting with this boat are the patches that probably happened along the trip. Something would happen. It's hard to say what would cause a hole in a boat. But what Z would have to do is get out the thread and sew these up and put little patches on them so that water wouldn't come rushing into the boat. You have a tendency to run the paddle on the side of the boat. He didn't do that. You can see this is in great shape. Now he might have caught the paddle there, but that wouldn't have done this rip up this way. So maybe got a foot on that, or somebody placed their hand on it. Somehow it ripped this, and he patched it. Here's where the straps were for the sponson on this side. This one is remaining, and that would hold this inner tube, this long sausage, in place. And then the last one was back here, and those are gone too. So this boat, the Escalante, had what are called sponsons on it. Think of an inner tube that you cut and you laid out flat like a sausage, and you made the ends airtight. And then you fastened it on the side of the boat, and you hooked one end here and the other end way over there. And you used these straps to strap the inner tube to the side of the boat. And that greatly enhanced the boat's ability to float. The one thing Z Grant didn't want to do was lose this boat. That's why it was packed with beach balls in the front and the back and had these inner tubes on the side. He wanted to be sure that this boat did not get away from him.